Welcome to another episode of the video. Unsolved mysteries that defy explanation. From the dawn of history, humans have been surrounded by questions that defy logic. Events that can't be neatly explained by science. Disappearances that have no witnesses, and objects that seem too advanced for the time in which they were created. These are the unsolved mysteries that captivate us, frighten us, and keep us awake at night, wondering if the world is stranger than we imagine. History is filled with puzzles that refuse to be solved, no matter how advanced our technology becomes. Each mystery is like a locked door, inviting us to turn the key, yet always leaving us with more questions than answers. In this part, we journey from secret military bases to ancient collapses and encrypted manuscripts that mock our intelligence. On Life, Fact Daily. Today, we begin a journey through the most chilling and bizarre unsolved mysteries in history. And the deeper we go, the darker it gets. For more video like this, subscribe, like, and share our channel. 1. The Antikythera mechanism, a computer from the ancient world. It was the year 1901 when a group of sponge divers stumbled upon something extraordinary near the Greek island of Antikythera. They weren't looking for history's secrets. They were searching for sponges. But what they brought up from the seafloor would leave archaeologists scratching their heads for decades. Among the treasures of a sunken Roman ship was a corroded bronze object, about the size of a shoebox, broken into pieces by centuries beneath the waves. At first, it looked like nothing more than a lump of metal. But when scientists cleaned it, they realized it contained a complex system of gears, dials, and inscriptions. This strange device became known as the Antikythera mechanism, and it shouldn't exist. Carbon dated to around 100 BC, the machine was capable of astonishing feats. It could track the movements of the sun and moon, predict eclipses, and even calculate the timing of the ancient Olympic Games. Using at least 30 finely cut bronze gears, it performed astronomical calculations with a precision that wouldn't be seen again until medieval Europe, over 1,000 years later. How could a civilization known for simple tools and hand-forged weapons create something so advanced? Some believe it was the work of Archimedes or one of his students. Others argue it was evidence of an entire tradition of technology that has been completely lost to time. And then there's the wild theory, the one that keeps people awake. If the Antikythera mechanism really was a one-of-a-kind invention, then where did the knowledge come from? Did the Greeks stumble upon knowledge that shouldn't have been theirs to begin with? The truth is, the Antikythera mechanism is not just a machine. It's a message from the past telling us that maybe, just maybe, entire chapters of human history have been erased or hidden. But while this mystery lies in the depths of history, our next one lies upon the endless, terrifying ocean. 2. The ghost ship of the Mary Celeste. The sea's most haunting secret. On December 5th, 1872, the crew of the Dei Grazia spotted something strange drifting in the Atlantic Ocean, about 400 miles east of the Azores. A merchant brigantine, sails torn and flapping, was cutting an eerie figure against the horizon. That ship was the Mary Celeste, and what the Dei Grazia would find on board has haunted seafarers for more than a century. The Mary Celeste had left New York a month earlier, bound for Genoa, Italy, carrying a cargo of denatured alcohol. On board was Captain Benjamin Spooner Briggs, his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and a crew of 7. They were experienced sailors, and the ship itself was in good condition. But when the Dei Grazia boarded the vessel, they found it completely abandoned. There were no signs of violence, no struggle. The cargo was untouched. 6 months' worth of food and water remained on board. Personal belongings, clothes, instruments, even toys were still in place. The only things missing? The captain's logbook and the lifeboat. The last entry in the log was dated November 25th, over a week before the ship was found adrift. But why would Captain Briggs, a skilled sailor, order his crew and family into a lifeboat when the Mary Celeste was perfectly seaworthy? Theories abound. Some say a sudden water spout or rogue wave made the crew fear the ship was sinking, so they abandoned it in panic. Others whisper of mutiny, though no evidence suggests it. One bizarre theory suggests that fumes from the alcohol cargo caused an explosion or even hallucinations that drove the crew to flee. But the most chilling possibility? That something or someone took them. Because the truth is, the sea has always been hungry for souls, and the Mary Celeste may just be one of its darkest feasts. But if that doesn't chill your blood, the next mystery might. A lonely lighthouse, a stormy night, and 3 men who vanished as though the sea itself had swallowed them whole. 3. The Flannan Isles lighthouse disappearances, gone without a trace. December 1900. The Flannan Isles, a remote, windswept cluster of rocks off Scotland's western coast. Here, 3 lighthouse keepers, James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, were stationed to keep the light burning for ships navigating treacherous waters. When a passing vessel noticed the lighthouse dark, alarm bells rang. Days later, a relief crew arrived to investigate. What they found was eerie. Meals left half-eaten, a chair knocked over, coats missing from their pegs. The logbook stopped abruptly, but the keepers themselves? Gone. The island's steep cliffs and pounding waves suggested one possible explanation: a sudden storm, with massive rogue waves crashing against the shore, sweeping the men to their deaths. But not everyone buys that story. Why would all 3 men, knowing the dangers, leave the safety of the lighthouse at once? Why the strange, overturned furniture inside? And why did the entries in the log hint at growing tension and unease in the days before the disappearance? The Flannan Isles mystery remains unsolved, but one thing is certain. Those men walked out into the storm and never came back. And in that moment, they became part of the sea's long list of sacrifices. But the ocean isn't the only place where the world's greatest mysteries play out. Sometimes they take to the skies, and sometimes they never come back down. 4. The disappearance of Amelia Earhart, the vanishing point. By the 1930s, Amelia Earhart was more than just a pilot. She was a symbol of courage, freedom, and possibility. The first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, she became a global icon. But her final flight turned her from a hero into a mystery. In 1937, Amelia set out to become the first woman to circumnavigate the globe. Alongside her navigator Fred Noonan, she had already completed 22,000 miles of the journey. Only 7,000 remained. But on July 2nd, as she approached the tiny speck of Howland Island in the Pacific, her radio transmissions grew frantic. Fuel was running low. Her voice was fading. And then, silence. Despite the largest search effort in aviation history, no trace of Amelia or Fred was ever found. Not the plane, not the wreckage, not a single shred of clothing. Theories swirl. Some say she ran out of fuel and crashed into the ocean, her plane swallowed by the endless blue. Others insist she landed on a remote island and died as a castaway. And then there are the conspiracy theories. Amelia captured by the Japanese, or perhaps secretly recruited by U.S. intelligence. Her last words, "We are running north and south," still echo in aviation history. And to this day, her fate remains one of the greatest mysteries of the skies. But while Amelia vanished chasing the horizon, our final mystery tonight involves a man who disappeared not in the sea or the air, but into thin air with a fortune strapped to his back. 5. The legend of D.B. Cooper, the man who walked into legend. November 24th, 1971. A man in a business suit boarded Northwest Orient Flight 305 in Portland, Oregon. He gave his name as Dan Cooper, later mistakenly reported as D.B. Cooper. Half an hour into the flight, he handed the stewardess a note. Calmly, he told her he had a bomb. His demand? $200,000 in cash for parachutes and a refueled plane waiting in Seattle. The FBI complied. Passengers were released unharmed. But when the plane took off again, this time with only the crew and Cooper aboard, he did something no one expected. Somewhere over the forests of Washington, he strapped on a parachute, tied the cash to himself, and leapt into the freezing night sky. He was never seen again. Despite a massive manhunt, no body was ever recovered. The only clue came years later. when a boy found $5,800 of Cooper's ransom money buried along a riverbank. Did Cooper die in the jump, his body lost to the wilderness? Or did he survive, quietly living out his life with the perfect crime under his belt? The FBI spent 45 years chasing him, interviewing over 800 suspects, but closed the case in 2016 without ever solving it. And in that moment, D.B. Cooper became not just a criminal, but a legend. 6. Area 51 and UFO secrets. Tucked away in the barren Nevada desert, Area 51 has become a symbol of secrecy and speculation. For decades, it was absent from official maps. The U.S. government didn't even acknowledge its existence until 2013, when declassified CIA documents revealed its use as a testing ground for advanced aircraft like the U-2 spy plane and later stealth technology. But for many, that explanation only scratches the surface. Eyewitnesses have reported glowing discs, impossibly fast aerial maneuvers, and unidentified craft hovering in the skies above the facility. Former employees have come forward with chilling testimonies, some claiming they worked on reverse engineering alien spacecraft. Pop culture only fueled the fire. Movies like Independence Day and viral movements like Storm Area 51 in 2019 kept the conspiracy alive, with millions demanding, what is the government hiding? The most unsettling part? Pilots and military officers have since confirmed encounters with unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, craft defying known laws of physics. While skeptics chalk it up to secret military projects, believers insist Area 51 is holding evidence that humanity is not alone. Is Area 51 just a test site, or the world's most guarded alien vault? 7. The Bronze Age collapse. Around 1200 BC, the ancient world faced a catastrophe so massive, it's still considered one of the greatest historical enigmas. Great civilizations like the Mycenaeans in Greece, the Hittites in Anatolia, and the mighty Egyptian Empire, all weakened or destroyed within a single century. Archaeologists have uncovered burned cities, toppled palaces, and signs of famine. But the true cause of this sudden collapse remains unknown. Some scholars argue it was due to prolonged droughts that crippled agriculture. Others blame the mysterious sea peoples, raiders who swept across the Mediterranean, leaving destruction in their wake. Still others suggest a domino effect. Trade networks collapsed, economies imploded, and kingdoms fell one after another. Yet one mystery remains unsolved. Who were the sea peoples, and how could they topple entire empires? No definitive records name them, only inscriptions left behind by desperate rulers begging the gods for salvation. This dark age lasted centuries, plunging the Mediterranean into silence. It's a chilling reminder of how fragile civilization can be, and how quickly greatness can crumble. 8. The Voynich manuscript. Imagine stumbling upon a book written in a language no one has ever been able to read. That's the story of the Voynich manuscript, discovered in 1912 by a rare book dealer named Wilfred Voynich. The manuscript, dating back to the early 1400s, is filled with bizarre content. Illustrations of plants that don't exist, astronomical diagrams that seem alien, and naked figures bathing in what look like strange, otherworldly contraptions. For more than a century, experts have tried to crack its code. Cryptographers, linguists, and even military codebreakers, including the CIA and NSA, have all failed. The text follows patterns like a real language, but doesn't match any known tongue. Theories abound. Some think it's an herbal or medical guide written in a forgotten dialect. Others suggest it's an elaborate medieval hoax designed to fool rich collectors. A fringe theory claims it could be a message from an extraterrestrial civilization, encoded in symbols beyond human comprehension. What's most unsettling is its consistency. If it were a hoax, it would require an almost superhuman effort to keep the nonsense text so mathematically precise. Could it truly be a lost language, or a secret that was never meant for us to understand? 9. The Bermuda Triangle. Few places on Earth inspire as much fear as the Bermuda Triangle, a stretch of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. For centuries, sailors and pilots have vanished here without a trace. One of the most famous cases was Flight 19 in 1945, when 5 U.S. Navy bombers disappeared during a training mission. A rescue plane sent after them also vanished. Not a single wreckage was ever recovered. Ships like the USS Cyclops, carrying over 300 men, vanished in the Triangle without sending a distress call. Even in modern times, yachts and small aircraft continue to disappear, sparking theories ranging from natural explanations to the paranormal. Scientists point to rogue waves, methane gas eruptions, and compass malfunctions caused by unusual magnetic fields. Skeptics argue that the number of accidents is no higher than any other busy oceanic region. But survivors' accounts tell a different story. Sudden storms appearing out of nowhere, instruments going haywire, and eerie feelings of disorientation. For many, the Bermuda Triangle remains a watery graveyard that refuses to give up its secrets. 10. The Lost Colony of Roanoke. In 1587, over 100 English settlers established a colony on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. It was supposed to be the first permanent English settlement in the New World. But when supply ships returned 3 years later, the colony had vanished. Houses stood abandoned, no bodies were found, and the only clue was a single word carved into a wooden post, Croton. Theories about their fate range from integration with local Native American tribes to starvation, disease, or even annihilation by hostile forces. Some speculate they moved to Croton Island, modern-day Hatteras, but no definitive evidence has ever been found. For centuries, historians, archaeologists, and treasure hunters have searched for answers. But the fate of the Roanoke colonists remains one of America's oldest and most haunting mysteries. 11. The disappearance of the Sodder children. On Christmas Eve, 1945, tragedy struck the Sodder family in Fayetteville, West Virginia. A fire consumed their home, and while George and Jenny Sodder escaped with 4 of their children, 5 more, aged 5 to 14, were never seen again. The fire should have left behind remains, but investigators found no bones, no bodies, and no evidence of the missing children. Even stranger, several odd clues suggested something far more sinister. The family's phone lines had been cut before the blaze. The ladder used for rescues was mysteriously missing, only to be found tossed down an embankment. Witnesses later claimed they had seen the children alive, some reportedly with strangers at a nearby motel. For decades, the Sodders refused to believe their children had died in the fire. They even put up a massive billboard on Route 16 with the children's pictures, pleading for answers. To this day, no trace of the Sodder children has ever been found, leaving behind one of America's most haunting family mysteries. Were they kidnapped? Did they perish in the fire? Or was there a larger conspiracy at play? 12. Stonehenge. Rising from the Salisbury Plain in England, Stonehenge is one of the world's most iconic monuments. Built between 3000 BC and 2000 BC, it consists of massive standing stones arranged in a precise circular pattern. The mystery is twofold. How was it built, and why? Some of the stones, weighing up to 25 tons, were transported from quarries over 150 miles away, without wheels, cranes, or modern machinery. Theories suggest wooden sledges, rafts, or even rolling logs, but no method fully explains the precision with which the stones were placed. As for its purpose, scholars remain divided. Was it a temple of worship, a solar calendar, or even a portal to the spiritual world? Some researchers point to the alignment of the stones with the summer and winter solstices as proof of astronomical significance. Others argue it was a ceremonial burial ground, while fringe theorists suggest extraterrestrial involvement. Whatever the case, Stonehenge remains a silent guardian of secrets we may never fully unlock. 13. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. In February 1959, 9 experienced hikers ventured into the Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union. They never returned. Rescue teams later found their campsite in a chilling state. The tent was slashed open from the inside, and the hikers' bodies were scattered across the snowy landscape, some half-dressed, others with horrific injuries, fractured skulls, broken ribs, and one even missing a tongue. No signs of an avalanche or foul play were found. Radiation traces were discovered on some clothing, sparking theories of military experiments. Others claimed UFOs or paranormal forces were involved. The official Soviet explanation at the time? An unknown compelling force. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case, ultimately blaming a rare type of avalanche. But many experts argue the evidence doesn't match. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most disturbing unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. 14. The Nazca Lines. Etched into the desert plains of southern Peru are the Nazca Lines, enormous geoglyphs carved into the earth around 500 BC to 500 AD. From the ground, they look like random trenches, but from above, they reveal intricate shapes: hummingbirds, monkeys, spiders, and geometric patterns stretching miles across the desert. The mystery lies in how and why they were created. The Nazca people had no aerial technology, yet the designs are only visible from the sky. Some theories suggest they were religious symbols, meant to be seen by gods above. Others argue they were giant astronomical calendars, mapping constellations. Fringe theories push further, claiming they were landing strips for extraterrestrial visitors, while archaeologists generally dismiss that the sheer scale and precision of the lines remain baffling. To this day, the true purpose of the Nazca Lines is written only in the sands of Peru and in the skies above them. 15. The Taos Hum. In the small town of Taos, New Mexico, residents began reporting a strange phenomenon in the early 1990s, a low-frequency humming sound, described as similar to an idling diesel engine. What makes the Taos Hum so mysterious is that not everyone can hear it. Only about 2% of the population reportedly perceives it, yet those who do often suffer headaches, insomnia, and psychological distress. Scientists have investigated possible causes: industrial equipment, distant power lines, geological vibrations, but no source has ever been confirmed. Audio equipment has failed to record the sound in a way that matches what people report. Some locals believe it's caused by secret government experiments, while others see it as a natural Earth resonance, or even something paranormal. Whatever its origin, the Taos Hum continues to frustrate researchers, leaving behind an eerie reminder that not all mysteries can be seen, some must be felt. 16. The WOW Signal. On August 15, 1977, astronomer Jerry Emmon was scanning the skies with a Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio when he detected something extraordinary: a 72-second radio signal from the constellation Sagittarius. The signal was so strong and unusual that Emmon circled it in red ink on the computer printout and wrote the word "wow" in the margin. Since then, it has become known as the WOW signal, the closest humanity has ever come to detecting alien communication. What makes it so mysterious is that it matched the expected profile of a deep space transmission, but it never repeated. Countless follow-up observations have failed to detect it again. Was it a one-off alien ping, a natural cosmic phenomenon we don't yet understand, or something else entirely? To this day, no natural explanation fully accounts for the WOW signal. It remains one of the greatest unsolved puzzles of the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. 17. The Phaistos Disk. In 1908, archaeologists excavating the Minoan Palace of Phaistos on the island of Crete discovered a small clay disk, dated to around 1700 BC, covered on both sides with stamped symbols arranged in a spiral. The Phaistos disk is considered one of archaeology's most perplexing finds. The disk contains 241 symbols, including human figures, animals, tools, and plants. But the writing system has never been decoded. Unlike the Rosetta Stone, no bilingual text exists to compare it against. Some believe it a form of proto-writing, while others think it could be a prayer, a legal document, or even a board game. Fringe theorists suggest it might be evidence of contact with a lost civilization, or even something extraterrestrial. Skeptics argue it might simply be an undecipherable oddity with no deeper meaning. Over 100 years later, the Phaistos disk still defies translation, taunting scholars with its silence. 18. The Oak Island Mystery. Off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, lies Oak Island, home to one of the longest-running treasure hunts in history. In 1795, teenagers discovered a strange depression in the ground and began digging. They found layers of logs, tools, and even a stone slab with mysterious carvings. What followed was over 2 centuries of excavation, involving treasure hunters, millionaires, and modern TV crews. They uncovered booby-trapped tunnels, strange artifacts, and evidence of elaborate engineering, but never the ultimate prize. Legends say Oak Island hides everything from pirate treasure to the Holy Grail, even Shakespeare's lost manuscripts. Yet each expedition ends in failure, or worse, tragedy. 6 people have died trying to uncover the island's secrets, fueling the legend that a curse will not be lifted until 7 perish. To this day, the Oak Island Money Pit refuses to reveal its secret, luring adventurers deeper into its trap. 19. The Tunguska Event. On the morning of June 30th, 1908, a massive explosion flattened over 800 square miles of forest in Siberia near the Tunguska River. Eyewitnesses described a fireball streaking across the sky, followed by a shockwave so powerful it knocked people to the ground 40 miles away. Scientists believe it was caused by the mid-air explosion of a meteor or comet, yet no impact crater has ever been found. Some trees were left standing upright, stripped of their branches, while others were leveled in a radial pattern, as if an invisible hand had swept them away. Alternative theories range from natural gas eruptions to secret weapons testing, or even an alien spacecraft crashing to Earth. With no definitive evidence, the Tunguska event remains one of the greatest scientific mysteries of the 20th century. 20. Göbekli Tepe. In southeastern Turkey, archaeologists unearthed a site that rewrote human history. Göbekli Tepe, a massive temple complex built over 11,000 years ago, thousands of years before Stonehenge or the Egyptian pyramids. The site consists of enormous T-shaped pillars arranged in circles, many carved with intricate animal figures. What's baffling is that Göbekli Tepe was built by hunter-gatherers, long before the invention of farming or settled societies. How could a supposedly primitive people construct such a monumental and sophisticated site? Was it a religious sanctuary, an astronomical observatory, or evidence of a lost advanced civilization? Even stranger, the site was deliberately buried around 800 BC for unknown reasons, preserving it in pristine condition. Was it abandoned, hidden to protect its secrets? Or was it covered up intentionally to erase something we were never meant to find? Göbekli Tepe challenges everything we thought we knew about human development. What do these mysteries mean? From the frozen peaks of the Ural Mountains to the scorching deserts of Peru, from vanished colonies to signals from the stars, these mysteries remind us of something profound. We don't know as much as we think we do. Each of these enigmas, whether it's the vanished Sadr children, the unbreakable Voynich manuscript, or the ancient wonder of Göbekli Tepe, points to the limits of human knowledge. They expose the cracks in our understanding of history, science, and even reality itself. Some mysteries may one day be solved. DNA analysis, satellite imaging, and artificial intelligence could reveal truths long hidden. But others may never yield answers, standing as eternal riddles that define the human experience. And perhaps that's the real lesson. The unknown drives us forward. It sparks curiosity, fuels discovery, and keeps us questioning. Because in the end, the greatest mystery of all may not be out there in the stars or buried in ancient ruins. It may be why we're drawn to mystery in the first place, why we search, why we wonder, why we can never stop asking what if. So the next time you gaze up at the night sky, wander among ancient ruins, or hear of a story that doesn't quite add up, remember, the world is still full of secrets waiting to be uncovered. And maybe, just maybe, one of them will be solved in our lifetime. For more video like this, subscribe, like, and share our channel. Life Fact Daily.